Hey guys, just going to do my usual audio check and then we'll start. As always, thanks for tuning in. If you want to comment and say hi, that would be cool too. So with this one, I use my phone. Although when I pull up on Facebook, I can sometimes see better when you join the broadcast. Yeah, and we're there. So I've loved learning and researching and things like that. And so when I was in the process, and as you guys know, I've really enjoyed, for as long as I can remember, working with audio and video and creating things and things like that, and then sharing them. And so when we decided to reinvent, oh, hey, Jesse, how you doing, buddy? So when we decided to reinvent really the Healing Center in many ways, well, like, as you guys know, I'm not a newbie into this whole media thing, but it was okay. So let's go back into the books, so to speak, and let's study and let's see what other people are doing and different things like that. And I was listening to a video, actually right on that monitor over there, watching a video and listening to a video. And they were talking about something as technical, if you will, as frame rates. Now, first of all, what's really kind of interesting about that is, and we talk about this in the manifesting manual. And by the way, so this Sunday, 7 p.m., right? As you know, we have events every Sunday, virtual events every Sunday, 7 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. This Sunday is the Reiki Refresh and Recharge continuing education. So for all you Reiki practitioners that just want to maybe connect with some other ones, kind of sharpen up some of your learning, maybe some of your skills. Hey, Carly, how you doing? Some of your skills and things like that. We'd love to have you join us. Go to healingcenter.ca. So now that I have this up here, a computer, I can actually type in comments a whole lot easier than, it wouldn't happen on there. So anyway, scroll to virtual events and you'll see all the different things that we're hosting and things like that. So you can always check that out. I'm hoping later on this morning, early this afternoon, we'll release the modularized version of the Reiki 1 level certification delivered through virtual. I think it's going to work really good. I was kind of hesitant because we've always done it this way, right? The topic for this video. But when we kind of throw that, that was a cool segue. But there's times when just because we've always done that way doesn't mean we should always continue to do it that way. And to reevaluate it, in many respects, kind of throw out those always done it this way. So we call it belief systems, truths for our lives, things like that, when we're creating something new. And I'm not saying that you maybe don't bring some back, but so often the only reason, and we actually talk about this in the belief systems of a master's class that's actually coming up this weekend. We'll talk about that, about belief systems, is that they kind of fade into the background. And there's patterns, there's themes in our lives and our life experience that manifest through behaviors and thought processes. And we're not even really sure why we think what we think and do what we do in so many cases. And why is that? Because this belief system fades into the background. So you're not even aware it's there. But the powerful thing is it's influencing everything that you receive and that you offer in your life experience. And that's the powerful thing about belief systems. And it can sometimes feel like the insidious thing at all. So there's those experiences, those themes and experiences in your life that you're having a challenge changing. And your focus, and it's just like you're, I like to say, walking up the down escalator. So why is that? Well, the reason that is because there's a belief system in the background. So like on a computer, you've got all this, on a phone too, you've got all these apps and programs that are running in the background, and you're probably not even aware that they are. But here's the thing. They all use resources, just like on a computer or on your phone. And this is the same thing. Those belief systems are running in the background. And we're not even aware they're there and running, yet they influence so much of everything that we do. One of the things that in figuring out some of the tech piece of this and the new equipment and different things like that, something as simple as the camera on this one laptop, it would work for a few seconds, then it would shut off. And I go, what the hell, right? What is going on? So you hop on and you Google it, and I found a YouTube thing, and this guy says, here's what you do. And yeah, I had to dig way, so you folks that are computer literate at all, I actually had to go into the Windows registry, which is something you don't muck around with unless you know what you're doing. It's like the DNA in some respects of your computer. And so he says, go here and do this and do this. And it made no sense. But I did it, change this, and sure enough, it fixed it, right? Now, I had no idea that this thing even existed, let alone how much it was affecting and influencing my experience, yet it still was. I wasn't aware of it, but it was still there. So anyhow, on this video right over there, it's just the end of it now. So he's talking about something as it could be mundane for you. It's kind of cool for me because I like to know how things work. So when you're shooting video, there's 2 frame rates. Now, all frame rates are the number of images per second that you see. So you think, this is really cool because it also applies in our 5 senses world. You think when you see movement like this, it's fluid movement, but it's actually not. What your mind is doing is receiving snapshots, like snapshot, 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 snapshot. And it takes these still images and it uses these still images to create the experience of motion. Isn't that interesting? And this isn't even new science. This has been around forever. So what you think is motion in your physical world, when you look around you right now, that your mind is creating. And it's creating it out of essentially still images. It's like a camera, snapshot, snapshot, snapshot. And it takes these still images, and this is a topic for another conversation, but it uses those images to create the experience of motion inside you. So the motion that you experience out here is actually created in here. And this isn't new age fluffy science. This is known this forever, right? So anyhow, it's this frame rate, so the number of pictures that are being flash, 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 you see it as motion. And there's 2 general ones, 24 frames per second and 30 frames per second. That doesn't matter unless you're interested in that stuff. Here's what I thought was interesting. So this guy was explaining, he was saying, so it's 24 frames per second. And actually he said, if you look at it, like specifically, it's actually, I think it's 23.967 frames per second. He says, when you set your camera, and you can even do it on your phone if you have an advanced phone app kind of thing, a photo app or video app, you'll sometimes be able to set it. And he said that the device will say 24 frames a second, but it's really not. It's actually 23.967 or something like that. And he says, here's why that is. So way back when really motion pictures, I guess, the technology was being created, they chose this number of 24, but it was just, it just wasn't, the machinery at the time just wasn't quite powerful enough to actually process that. So what they did, we're talking, I don't even know, I bet it's damn near 100 years ago now, when you think about it, like motion pictures, right? What they did was they reduced the resolution. That's not I'll use that word for now. It's not the most accurate, but we'll work with it. They reduced it by 1%, and 1% is this 23.967. And that's what they did way back when, because they had to. Right? They had to, because the equipment, the technology, all that kind of stuff that they had, it just wasn't able to handle anymore. And this, I think, this is a really valuable thing to remember, is who you are today is not who you were 10 years ago, or for that matter, 2 days ago. Unless you wish it to be. And even then, things are always changing. And so here's where I'm getting at with that. So the truths, these programs that were very valid for you 10 years ago, may not be valid today. Those truths, those practices, those thought processes that were very valid and actually worked, if you want to use that word, 10 years ago, may not work today. And that's what he was saying was, of course, the technology now they can film in 30 and 60 and 120 and 240 and like insane speeds, right? But they couldn't back then. Now, was it possible to film in, these high frame rates and stuff like that back then? Yes, but they didn't have the equipment. The equipment hadn't evolved enough to be able to do that. And here's what happens is we have these belief systems, these truths. And so, hey, to our masters, our existing masters in Red Deer this weekend, if you want to sit in on a class, feel free. Just let me know. Or if you're looking for your masters, let me know. And we'll hook you up. We talk a lot about this. Right? About how what served you yesterday or 10 years ago may not serve you today. But you still may be doing it. And so often the reason you're doing it is because we've always done it that way. And that's one of the things that he was saying was, he said that 24 now is sort of the standard for motion picture and again, other techie stuff. But anyway, and he says they really have never changed it to actually make it a true 24 because all the kind of the big players said, well, we've always done it this way, so we won't bother changing it. Right? So the only reason that, again, if you have an advanced app on your phone or whatever, video cameras and things like that, it says 24, but it's really not. The only reason they haven't changed that standard to make it a true 24 is for no other reason than they've always done it that way. And this is coming from whatever, 60, 70 years ago. Well, longer than that, probably. I got thinking about that. And I got thinking, so how many limitations, truths, always done it this ways in my life and in your life experience are we limiting ourselves by for no other reason than we've always done it this way? I remember so in the beginning of teaching Reiki, I taught level 1 and then level 2 separately. So the reason I did was because that's the way my teacher did it. And my teacher said, that's the way you do it. Okay, so that's the way I do it. And I would frown on people who would do it do them together because you don't do it that way. And then, make a long story short, I was encouraged to step outside of this absolute. You don't do this, to step outside of this absolute. And that's why I say right now, in this chaos that we see around us, so many of those structures that have conditioned us, this is the way you live, essentially, are kind of falling apart, which gives us this wonderful opportunity to create something brand new within it. Right? It's like when everything is falling apart, one of the upsides to that is don't have a whole lot of, it's like, okay, I don't know what to do now. So it's almost like you're starting from scratch. Now you're not, but in a way it feels that way. Right? It's like a clean slate in some respects. Like, what are we going to build now? Right? And I think that's the valuable thing, is to evaluate and just to be aware and not go looking for it. What are the programs? Just to be aware of those automatic thought processes, which then manifest through into automatic behaviors. And does that thought process serve me today and moving forward into the future? It may have served you 10 years ago, may have served you yesterday. But does it serve you today, and will it serve you as you move into this new expression of you? And that's really a big piece of the passion, I guess you'd say, that is within me right now is we have this wonderful opportunity in the midst of all this chaos to create something new. And I really see that's what's naturally happening. So it's not even so much us that's instigating it. It's us that's participating with it. And to bring back some of my favorite words are community with a capital C, right? That connectedness. And that's where the feminine energy comes in, right? The earth energy, sensual energy, all these different labels, right? Is that feeling of community, not the concept, not the theory, not the intellect, if you will, but a feeling of community. And that's where the power is. And that's where we're creating something. We are creating something new and amazing. And sometimes to step into that, it requires us to leave some of those old, because we've always done it that ways, behind. And that's why in this, it's almost like a renaissance in some respects. As we allow it, there may be themed experiences in your life that would just happen over and over and over again, right? That maybe are starting to be sort of flushed away. And that's not a bad thing, right? Because you're not the same person that you were yesterday and 10 years ago. And yes, there are some, we've always done it this way, that you want to bring through. But I think we need to be careful that we don't bring them through for the only reason is I've always done it this way. Because first of all, maybe they never did serve you. And if they did, maybe they don't now. And I know that is a blend of exciting and terrifying so often at the same time, because we've been so conditioned to define our identity through our past experiences and our external world. And both of those are kind of crumbling now. And so now it's like you get to decide. This is the whole reinventing, right? You get to decide who you are. And I guess in a way, that's what I've been doing too, is reinventing myself. Because as you know, all the stuff around here and everything I do, the Healing Center's expression of me is kind of, I guess, reinventing myself. And who do I want to be from this moment forward, in this moment, and then moving forward? And I guess that's the question I offer you. Who do you want to be? Not who your family tells you should be, not who your past tells you should be, not who your bank account, the shape of your body, the job that you have, the people that you hang out with. I mean, anything in the external world, right? Not what they, them, she, the people, places, things, and events tell you that you are. Who do you want to be? Because you get to choose. Now, maybe you've never felt that before. And sometimes that freedom feels kind of weird, right? It's like you're almost sort of jumping out of a plane without a parachute kind of thing. But you get to choose. Do you want to be 24 frames per second? Or do you want to be 23.967 for the only reason is that they've done it that way since the last 100 freaking years, right? All right, guys, thanks for tuning in. Share. We're all in this together. Let me think. I kind of went through all the details. So Masters this weekend in Red Deer. Let me think what else. A lot of stuff online. Go to healingcenter.ca. I posted the link there. We'll be bringing the Reiki Level 1 certification class conducted through 5 modules, virtual modules. I think it's going to work really good. It's modules. So they're about an hour long. And you don't have to do them in order. You just need to get them, all done before you get your certificate. And it's like a pay-as-you-go. So you don't have to pay the whole tuition, and we've reduced the tuition for the online version. So you can pay for each module as you go. So that works really good. Again, an hour segment. So I think it's going to be a lot easier to schedule them in sometimes. And the other thing is you get access to the Ask the Wizard Metaphysics Academy, which the infrastructure is there. We're just kind of adding content now, home study courses, different things like that. That's the home of the $5 workshop. Yes. So you can check all that stuff out. And I think that's it. Of course, Ask the Wizard coaching room. If you're looking for a quick pick me up or a 20 for 20 or a formal coaching session, whatever it may be, you know how to find me. All right, guys. Thanks a lot. See you on the web.